Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Tricolor Reds. Today we have Khaled, the main host as always, myself, Jack, and Nigel. And today we will be discussing the following topics. We will be discussing the win against Luton. We will be talking about the impending takeover of Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe of the minority stake. And we'll also talk about the women's football and how they're playing at Old Trafford this weekend.
Amazing. Thank you for the opening, Dara. Seems like you weren't eating at all when before you
No,
just
no, not at all.
we just got Dara on a bite just before. So happy to have you guys again. The full squad is here. I would call it a happy episode because we always finish the episode before and we say we wish for a happy episode. But there's ups and downs between the happy and not so happy. But let's get straight into it. There was an announcement this week from the club, an official announcement. It says Richard Arnold has decided to step down. Now there are rumors in between. He's pushed his everything. Fabrizio Romano calls it revolution at Man United. I wouldn't call it revolution, to be fair, unless the Glazers are going with Martial, of course. And
Mhm.
it's not happening yet, so I won't call it revolution. But Deck, I'm starting with you. 16 years, CEO of Manchester United. Richard Arnold is gone. Patrick Stewart will take over as interim CEO. Still unclear what's happening in the upcoming weeks, but how did you read that?
My take on it was that he probably did get pushed. Commercially, he did great for the club, but unfortunately for supporters, that's not what we care about. We care about what's happening on the pitch. He wasn't able to do that job properly. I mean, look at the recruitment, the retention, everything. It's been an epic fail. He needed to go. There needs to be more that go with him. We have to stop running United as money making machine for the Glazers. We need to get football men in there that have the interest of the team at heart and that want to get Manchester United back to being number one on the football pitch and not on the tills in the megastore.
Yes, I would agree. Not on the mega stores, and I was the last one to spend some money on the mega stores this season. I feel ashamed, but I had to get my kids some jerseys because our sponsor Nigel doesn't make jerseys for 3.5 and 1 year old yet. And Nigel, I'm off to you next, but not about the jerseys. How did you read that statement? And we lost Dara, or he's gone because I spent money on the Glazers. No, he's there. So, Nigel, how did you read that statement, and what do you feel about after 16 years he's gone slash pushed out, and how do you see it?
Yeah, I am. I'd be very, very similar thoughts to Dak, and even like predecessors like Peter Kenyon and stuff like that. They were incredible on the commercial side, but they're not football people. And again, I was reading things on Twitter uh, about who Ratcliffe has potentially lined up, and I'm not going to pretend I can remember the name, but there was one lad who seemed I was really interested in this fella. He was involved in helping
Juve?
Juventus recover from their troubles where they were relegated down the leagues and stuff like that. And they are the type of people. Like again, if these people are coming in, this is not going to be a quick fix. That's the one thing I think we can all agree with Man United at the minute now. But we actually just need football people in, not marketing managers, not links with different drinks companies and air like flight companies and whatever. Like
Mhm.
actual just concentrate on what actual Manchester United is, a football team. And that's again for the four of us and whoever else is watching or listening to this, that's all we are worried about. We're not worried about stock markets and the New York Stock Exchange and the values and the shares and stuff. And I do appreciate too that has obviously an effect on transfer budgets and things like that. But I think Ratcliffe, he is not going to suffer fools gladly. I don't think. Um, I still think I'm not too sure about what think about him actually taking partial ownership of the club because based on again just media reports and stuff that he was in the run for Chelsea before Todd Barley took over there. So how much actually is he interested in our club, or is it just a business prospect, something like that? But I think he has to make statements and prove to the fans and prove to the supporter base that he's coming to turn us around, and then we will get behind him.
Yeah, I would agree. It's still complex. I mean, I've read reports also about the share A's and share B and the Glazers, how they own share B because it's more voting rights and everything. But before we get into that, and now I'm trying to remember the name of the guy, Jean something with the
It's
who worked in
Jean-Claude Blanc.
exactly. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Dara. So I'm up to you, Dara. How do you see it? How do you see it? How did you read the statement? How do you see that 16 years legacy? I would say I respect it to work for 16 years for the club. However, it wasn't as we wanted it as fans. But how do you see the statement and how do you see the next steps with it? Because there's a lot of unclarity there. So how do you see it as a fan?
I suppose to start, obviously, kind of to show off what, or to go off of what Deck was saying, fantastic businessman. And whether we love him or hate him, Ed Woodward was the same. He was a fantastic businessman. But yet again, it's a common theme over the Glazers' ownership. Business people in footballing positions. You just knew it was never going to work. Now, I suppose you could tell Richard Arnold wanted to do right by the fans. He offered to act like we all know the story of him meeting the fans down the pub was summer 22 because he got tipped off that fans were going to come by his house basically. So he said, "Look, I'll beat them to it. I'll beat him down the pub." And you know what? He gave an impassioned speech. Now, whether it was scripted or whether it was a case that he actually meant what he said, that they actually wanted to do right by the fans. You could tell there was a bit of sentiment there, but at the same time, he had his best role in the commercial side, and I think that just tells the story. As Nigel was pointing out, that you have like Jean-Claude Blanc coming in potentially for his position. John Worta, from all accounts, is also on the way out, and the kind of names that are being thrown about there, the likes of I'm not too sure how familiar you would be with these kind of names, but Paul Mitchell and Michael Edwards. Michael Edwards famously done very well as kind of a director of football, kind of sort of role, sporting director, even might be the term, over at Liverpool. Now, I know we don't want to talk about the success of the Scousers over on this channel, but in terms of transfer and actual footballing business, Michael Edwards was a solid recruitment for Liverpool Football Club in the time that he was there in the late 2010s, early 2020s. And Paul Mitchell has a good track record as well. So at the end of the day, if you get the right people in footballing wise, if you get the right recruitment in, if you get the right names and faces in, it'll actually appeal to players and agents to say, okay, United aren't just a business club anymore. They're not a commercial club. They're actually a proper football club again because they actually have the proper footballing people at the helm. The whole takeover of the whole, it's going to be messy to say at least. Like, I'm looking for, at the end of the day, we can all agree we all want the full sale. It's been, from the last number of weeks, we knew it was never going to happen. But all I can say is Jim Ratcliffe wouldn't have allowed this to happen himself, whether it be the 25% stake or the majority stake. He wouldn't have gone in unless he knew there was something in it for him. So I do believe that he is going to do right by the fans in some level, where he's going to try and take the 25% and actually make good of his word and try and make that majority stake, taking the Glazers out once and for all. Now, he's a businessman at the end of the day. He's probably playing the long game. If he actually cares about the club enough, he'll push hard in the next number of years. I'd say give it. I know we don't want them any longer than we already have them, but I do feel if he can try and say in the next 5 to 10 years, once and for all, get rid of the Glazers, I do feel if he plays that card and he actually does right by the fans and takes over the club officially, I do think if with the right people at the helm, he will be the right owner for us. It's just a mess, and I do feel the fact that there's talk of sporting control, but Joe Glaze is still sitting on the panel of people who have control over the club. It's just going to be messy. It's the only way to describe it right now. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope the Glazers do kind of take a back seat on the footballing side and do focus on what they are actually good at. Like, for as much as we hate them, we do genuinely hate the way they've run this club. But I do feel commercially wise, they are good at what they do, albeit a leverage takeout, which is now legal because of them. But uh, because of the commercial deals they've done in the since Ferguson left base in 2013, where he would have had absolutely none of it. It just says a lot, really.
Yeah, we can speak about this until ages, but
We could be here all night. We could literally just talk the full hour about the Glazers alone, really. But we know we have to cut it tight
Well, you
now.
could, no problem.
he's by himself at home. That's why he can stay all night and just
Exactly.
We'll just say it live, so so we can make you some trouble. But you know what? From all of this, I would label it just still almost negative vibes around the club. Last game there was a lot of positives. There was a win, 3 points. Obviously, the win wasn't easy. It was a bit painful. A lot of misses, a lot of things happened. But Deck, I'm back to you. How do you see it? Was it good performance, bad performance? 3 points what matters,
I
but how
think
do you see it?
it was an important performance because what they needed more than anything else was the 3 points.
Mm.
They needed that. Now, I have to be honest, I was working, so I didn't get to see it live. I rewatched it later that night. I thought it was a massive performance by Harry Maguire. Thought he had a great game. There was a load of missed chances. I was surprised by Highland's one. Couldn't believe he missed that. But look, at the end of the day, all we wanted was the 3 points. Performances will come, I think. Our injury list is atrocious. I think a big miss for us has been Luke Shaw. So I think when we get him back, it's going to be a major positive. I think him and Rashford play off each other really well. So we need Rashford back scoring. We just needed those 3 points to kick on. And somehow, and I've been looking at the stats online, we're the forum team in the league at the moment. So that's always a positive. I mean, we're going through one of our worst spells and we're 7 points from top. So, I mean,
7 points from top. I think it's
Yeah.
5 points from Spurs, and it's the best season for Spurs since
Yeah.
year five. Is it five, right? If I remember
5.
correctly, I can look it up now. And when you look at the drama around the club, especially what Sky Sports says and what you read on Twitter, you would say we're not there. We would say we're next to Luton down. In the table. And Dara, I'm back to you here. How did you live at plus 3 points and you don't care? Because now I am at that stage. I just wanted plus 3 points, positive performance, good performance. I'll worry about it later. I wanted the 3 points. I didn't care about the how. But how about you?
I'd actually agree with you, Khaled. I was taking the opportunity of say take 3 points, run. I knew from last week's results between Luton and Liverpool or 2 weeks ago even now that Luton weren't going to be a walkover. And I've said it before, and I think I even said it here last week or 2 weeks ago. They're a team that have an absolute dogfight in them because they know they're not the big powerhouse team. They're just going to come out swinging every game, and they showed it because while we dominated the game, they still had their chances. They almost took them too, but we saw in previous games across the league so far for them, they're not going to lie down. They're not going to lie down for any team. It doesn't matter if it's us, Liverpool, Man City. It could be Sheffield United, who they would be battling against for relegation. Those kind of games matter the most to them. So I think they're going to try and take the full fight every single game that they can. Like, the performances are worrying, but kind of to feed off of what Jack was saying there, Luke Shaw is a miss because the way Luke Shaw and Rashford fed off each other, as Dick pointed out there last year, especially when Rashford went on his golden patch, really, it was just, you could see how the two boys connect. And it's even in the England team, if you ever watch the England games, you actually see the same when Luke Shaw and Rashford are playing off each other on there. The two boys have absolute flyers of games. So it's not a surprise that we are missing some crucial players. Did we realize how big of a miss that some of these players would be? Not really. Like you can tell that the whole centre back situation now is getting a bit weary. Like between the fact we're missing Lisandro Martinez, we're missing Johnny Evans. We hopefully might be back for the Everton game as an option at the very least. Lindelof, solid centre back. Harry Maguire earned his flowers, and then Varane is seemingly having an attitude problem, but we can get onto that at a different time. Uh, at the end of the day, these performances are worrying. The actual in game where you see the actual attacking, you can actually see a style of play at times. It takes, how do you describe, like you can see something's coming, but this every time you think that the spark is there, we thought the spark was there now after the Onana save
Copenhagen.
Trafford, and then we lost the games against City and Newcastle. So it's just a matter of when the consistency will finally come. I think the results will come along with it, but until then, like we're still getting the results, but we need a consistent performance.
Yeah. Nigel, what about you? Luton
Yeah,
game, 3 points.
oh no, like again, obviously the main objective is the 3 points, and for a team like Luton that went through automatic promotion, like they're living their best life. They never imagined that they would be a Premier League level team, and everywhere they go, they have nothing to lose. They're like Champions League finals for them against everybody. And you could see the week before where they were after taking some points off Liverpool, and then the next week again they're coming up to us. So you knew that it was never going to be easy because again they've nothing to prove really to anyone. Everything's a bonus for them. They've, like if they consolidate and maybe stay in the Premiership, that will be on ultimate success for them. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Um, I think too, Ian, just sort of not repeating like what the lad said. I'm delighted to see Harry Maguire now finally playing with looks like no stress. That have when the captaincy was took off him, and he has really been the a leader among the team, and
Mm.
really showing what it means to him to and maybe prove people wrong a bit because like myself included definitely would have been try and get him out get
Me too.
any type of money and I'm
I think
not
we're all in that boat. Like.
yeah and I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say oh it's Lautaro like I was when he came from Leicester. I think yeah great player but again probably handed the captaincy too soon a bit like and just the pressure. At the end of the day, it's Manchester United. It's not Leicester. It's not like uh, it's. But now that's been taken off him, and I was happy to see Lindelof. Like it was great. Like I didn't know where the goal was going to come from. If it was going to come at all, and I feel sorry for Haaland because you can see he's just trying so hard. But when again, as Dara said, when he sparks, he's going to take teams to clean apart because
Yeah.
he is a serious player. And if always another problem is we seem to get a little bit of a run and then international break, and now you're going back into absolute nothing for most country games because most groups is sorted out for countries that's going to go to the Euros. So hopefully we can get all our boys back and pick up no new injuries because you couldn't write the injury list that we have at the
Yeah.
minute.
We
But
still got the AFCON coming also.
Oh,
yeah,
that,
um, and
we'll just kick that can down the road.
but and maybe like at the end of the day, I haven't even seen our reserve keeper really play for
Yeah.
us. Like surely if he comes in and gets a chance to shine, like but no, you have to have faith in the team. You have to faith and just that's because I've definitely seen more good days than bad days, and performance wasn't the best, but again, as that referenced, we're only a few points off top, and once this coming in here, confidence comes on. So winning, one's a proof, and the run will continue. Yeah, Aaron. Yeah, And I'm going to take your line here, Aaron. Your line here, Khalid, about Aaron always tuning in, and we have to get him on one night. Aaron, will you
Yeah,
accept an
I told him.
invite?
I told him you have to come
Oh,
one
for sure.
time. Good. And
You've been called out now.
yeah, I think we have to get all the guys from Kildare, and they're doing a Christmas party. I've seen also. Maybe we should do something virtual for our Christmas party for the Tricolor Reds or something. But anyway, with these injuries, I guess
Get
at
them
some point
bottles of prime.
we would have to borrow players from the women team, no, and just have them bottle of prime. Uh, I, 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 I I didn't want to hear it, but I heard it, but I couldn't just go past it. But anyway, to move to the women team's topic and to the derby this weekend in Old Trafford, and at this pace of injuries, I'm happy to bring in a few players. I've seen. Have you seen that screamer goal from Millie Turner in the last game? She's a center back.
That's the beauty, like, honestly.
Mm.
Beauty, like
Great.
Deck, I'm sure
It-
you will say Martial won't score it. I went and commented that on the Instagram of Millie Turner. Just said, when you realize that Martial can't pull it. Unfortunately, sorry, Martial, but you have to go. And women's team, I believe we still have long road for equality with Man United. But Deck, I'm back to you. It's the game number 50 for Mark Skinner. It's the derby with the noisy neighbors. We are in third place, 12 points. They are in the sixth place with 10 points. And we're still behind Arsenal and Chelsea. They are 13 and 16 points. So record attendance normally in Old Trafford this weekend. But how would you see it?
Yeah, I think it's great that they're playing in Old Trafford. Over 40,000 tickets sold already. They're fabulous to watch. There's some serious talent on the team. And they're not like the team is still very young, and I think they've got massive potential. I mean, there's serious players there, Zellum and Mary Earps in goal. Mark Skinner's doing a great job with them. I mean, they're putting in consistent performances. Goals don't seem to be a problem for them, so maybe we could definitely try send a few of our lads off to watch them. But I mean, I just think they're fabulous to watch.
Yeah.
Last season they had a great season as well, and I think this Sunday now against City is going to be a fabulous game. I'll be tuning in watching it as well. I just think it's great to see.
Great to see. Dara, who'd be your favorite player before you tell me about the others?
I've always I've always loved the attitude of Mary Earps, just simply because, as I remember saying this on the podcast before, she's everything that Andrea Onana wants to be and everything that De Gea should have been, because she can play out from the back, but she can command the box as well. So like Andrea Onana, I remember when we were kind of talking about his slower start to his time at the club, I said, look at Mary Earps. She's able to play out from the back, she's able to pass, but she's a fantastic shot stopper. And sure enough, I think, was there any potential lessons between the two of them? Because Onana's after coming in a long way, though, in fairness, compared to when we were talking about the comparison to Mary Earps back then. Like, watching them now, Mary Earps would be one of my favourites. I look at the way Millie Turner is, like, Zellum and Toon, fantastic footballers in their own right. So
they're all your favorite then. Okay, story so
but no, like they all bring their own individual qualities to the team that make them stand out, really. So I think that's what that's why I can't exactly pick one, really. So at the same time, I'm just there like the fact they all
tell me about the derby
qualities.
then. Tell me about the derby then. How do you see it?
I mean, we're on course to continue our undefeated run. Like, yes, we're third, but you have to remember, look who's above us. Two of the powerhouses in women's football, Chelsea and Arsenal. And as I remember last time we talked about women's football in this podcast, I did make the point that the whole gut out of the club during the transfer window, I thought it would play a bit on the mind of some people. And like I said, they've brought in some decent players. They've brought in the likes of Gacy, they've brought in Melvin Millard. Like, they've brought in decent players, and they're all going to be good players in their own right. And of course, it's all a transition period, really, because of the quality of players that had left the club in the summer. But Mark Skinner is doing a fantastic job all the same. So the fact that he's doing such a great job, and with the news now that Emma Hayes is leaving Chelsea, I do feel unless they bring in a quality manager to replace her, I do feel it's ours for the taking next season if we don't take opportunity this season.
Yeah, yeah. Would agree. Would agree. And we'll see hopefully how the derby goes, and hopefully it can. We're 5 years old since 2018 or
Yeah,
so,
2018, yeah.
6 years. It's it's five and something anyway. But yeah, it's really interesting to see, and especially 40,000 tickets. That's huge. I've never been to a
It's
women game in
amazing.
Old Trafford yet, but it's on my to-do list. To be fair, I want to do it.
Like, and even I was listening to another podcast and they made the point that the fact that bring the women's games to Old Trafford because of the fact that, as I pointed out before, the
Yeah,
travel the travel issue out to Leigh Sports Village. It's a
yeah.
massive issue for people to who, let's say, like the rest of us now, say, who want to go over watch a men's game, but if we're there for the full weekend and the women's are playing in the Leeds Sports Village, we want to go out there. It's a bit harder for us to go out there if we're not living in Manchester, where we either don't know the full extent of public transport
Especially with
or
kids, like if you're taking little girls to watch and to
exactly.
empower them and everything. Like now, just to come back to the favorite player piece, my favorite player was Alicia Russo, but then she broke all of our hearts and
Of
went
course.
to the other side. Well, not other side in Manchester, at least. She's in Arsenal. But I still love Ella Toon. She's amazing. She's the United spirit. That's amazing. And now on Instagram, I'm focused with Katie Zillum. So I got my daughter a number 10 jersey, and I go to Katie's Instagram every time I post. And I say, you have a few more years until my daughter gets that number 10, and she will be playing instead of you. I'm just throwing it in comments for Katie. But Nigel, here I'm going to you. Derby, women's football. Hopefully, we sit together one day in Old Trafford and watch it. How do you see it?
No, well, yeah, the ladies' team has made great strides, and it was a wee bit like Diane Caldwell, Republic of Ireland international, when she signed, and it didn't really work out. I was very excited because I always, again, having an Irish player representing at Old Trafford, like, but no, they've made great strides. I was a wee, yeah, to touch again what you said about Amelia Russo. She's one of the leading lights in ladies football, but Mary Earps is a real character and a real, again, that are like, again, I actually watched her on an episode of A League of Her Own. I don't know if you watch, any of you watched that, and she really is like and in the World Cup, like, she is fierce, like, she is fierce. And if we could just put a wee drop of her into her nan, I think you'd be flying it out, so you would.
Oh,
But no,
absolutely.
it's incredible for them, and it's a great occasion. And as much as our senior men's team, they're our senior ladies team, so they deserve to play in Old Trafford and much. And like one thing, which is a slight little different thing, the connection with the fans too, because again, maybe Deck, Dara, and yourself, Cleve, will know there's like one particular person who's a member of our Suki's Red Devils, and he follows the ladies team up and down England, everywhere to go, and photograph regularly with his son, and they're just so approachable, they're so nice. And I'm not saying that the men's team is not, but I think they really appreciate the support that they get, and that's how you can see they will fill, or three quarters fill, maybe Old Trafford on Sunday. And little girls like your daughter in a few years will be making that trip over, not to go and see Fernandez and not to go and see Ronaldo. Oh, well, do you know what I mean? But just to go and see, and that's it's incredible to see that the drive across multiple teams in our club, that it's
Yeah.
not just the men's team, that there is a bit of equal parity, and like it, they might not, well, don't get me wrong, they might now just be at the level of the men's team, but it is great. And the derby is for one time it might be a good chance for us to put a bloody nose on the blue neighbours, but so, but so anyone against City will take it.
Yeah, I would agree, and really all the points you said are valid, especially about going watching the women team playing in Old Trafford. I want, for example, for me as a father, I have a boy and a girl, and I hope my daughter will grow up to watch and play in football if she wants anyway, and see an example to look up to. Because when I was growing up, I don't have any memories of women's football. So now at least it's to empower complete new generation for a big diversity and inclusion piece here for this, and a big piece for equality. I know it sounds fancy. I know it's not like corporate talk, but it's reality. It has to be. We're going into 2024 now, and hopefully it's getting better. And I would agree, especially with what you said. They're really easily approachable. I know someone who manages the social media for Elatun, and I've met with him in the Galatasaray game, and he's very good man also with his girlfriend. They came with me to the game, and we were speaking about Ella, and his girlfriend was telling me how she's down to earth. She speaks to people on the street, pause for every picture they met and everything. So that's the kind of spirit that hopefully won't change in the women football. And again, let's make Manchester red in the derby. Hopefully, we lost 3-0 on the men team. Hopefully, we'll score 3 this week, and then we beat them. We did those score prediction in the men team when we jinxed it. So I'm not doing it. no one will say score predictions. But
North, I was going to make my prediction.
you want to make your predictions?
Go on. We'll say with the same result against West Ham there last week, 5-0.
That's a bold one. That's really a bold one. Okay.
If they get firing, they can, like.
Yeah. Would you like to make predictions, Deck, Nigel? I won't. I don't want it
to. To be honest, I'll just take any win against City. So +1. That's all I want. No. I'll leave the prediction, and we can chat about it next week, and we can all slag Dara when he's completely wrong.
Hey.
I don't know. I think United have the possibility if they start scoring, they could hockey them. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
I'll just say the same thing I said about the Luton game. I just want 3 points. I don't care about the how.
Oh no, I think we'll take the 3 points no matter what way it comes. But it'd be always nice, as we just made the point there, to give them the bloody nose that they do deserve.
Hopefully, in a very nice way. In a very nice way. All right, lads, it was great hosting you. 32 minutes on the clock, and we had 6-7 people watching at some time, which was great, and not so many questions. Aaron, if you're still there, hopefully you can join us next time, and with the Kildare team. We close it always wishing for a happy episode for next week's international break, so we can. There's nothing to happen, nothing major to happen, but I think the one thing I will wish is that no more injuries after international break, whatever it is. We cannot afford more injuries coming after the international break. So, any closing points, Deck, Nigel, Dara, is really open, and everyone, if you haven't seen Dara, he's eating when the camera moves, just to
not professional at all.
My food is cold.
No, it's a cool podcast. We're not Sky Sports to speak about Man United badly,
Any final thoughts? Is it ill of me to wish the entire Liverpool team get injured when we get full recovery?
I'd buy it. It's okay if we get banned on YouTube. I don't care. I'd buy it.
No, all we want is United back to winning ways, get the lads back from the injury list, and kick on with the rest of the season. That's all we want.
No Martial out?
No, I'm not even mentioning him.
So the game.
You're closing it.
Keep the faith, because Man United will never die. Glazers,
Man United will never die.
That's for them, sure.
Thank you for tuning in, lads. Thank you for joining, and see you next time.
All right.
Cheers.
Thanks a million.
Thanks very much, guys.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.